Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to configure a FreeNAS server to use it as a backup server for a web server. So first of all, we are going to download Ubuntu server and we are going to install Apache HTTP server to be our web server, and then we are going to configure FreeNAS operating system. FreeNAS is based on FreeBSD operating system, so we are going to configure it to work as a backup server. We will put a website in our web server. Then using the FreeNAS box, it will copy the contents of the website and as well as the database files of the website to itself, and it will pull the data. So in case of any data loss, we are going to be pushing the data back to the web server. So let's get started. First of all, we will download the operating system. So search for FreeNAS. I'm going to download the FreeNAS box. In order to download the box, you have to have an account with the freenas.org. So I'm going to continue to use my Google account to download the operating system. Currently the latest version here is 11.3. I'll click download, and the download is going to take around 12 to 13 minutes, and meanwhile I'll go to download Ubuntu server. So just go to Ubuntu download, ubuntu.com/downloads. Here Ubuntu server, and currently the latest version is Ubuntu server 20.04. This is the long-term support version, and the support will continue until April 2025, which is a 5 years of support. So we're going to download this. It will start. Okay, and this is around 908 MB. So this is going to take a while. It depends based on your internet connection. So I will pause the video and resume once I have both the operating system downloaded, and we will start configuring. So here we can see that our downloads are about to finish. This is .iso file, and this is FreeNAS operating system, and this is the Ubuntu operating system. Now we are going to be using VMware Workstation for this setup. I have Workstation 15.5 Pro. I recommend you to use either VMware Workstation Player, which is a free second level hypervisor, or you use VirtualBox, which is an open source and free second level hypervisor. You can just search for VirtualBox and go to virtualbox.org. Here you can download VirtualBox. or you can use VMware Workstation. So now that we have downloaded both operating systems, we will create guest operating system using Workstation 15 Pro. So first of all, I'll create a new virtual machine. This machine is going to be for our Ubuntu server operating system, and we will configure the HTTP web server. So select the recommended, click next, select the installer disk, browse, you can go to downloads, and downloads scroll for the operating system that we have just downloaded and click open, continue, name it, I'll name it Ubuntu, username Ubuntu, I'll keep it all as Ubuntu so I don't forget the usernames and passwords, but you could use any name, username or password. It's Ubuntu 64-bit, and the location where it will be stored, you could change this location if you don't have enough of space in your C drive. You could select any other drive for your installation. So we'll continue. 20 gig is the disk space, the capacity that will be allocated, and finish. Alright, the guest operating system is loaded. Let me go full screen. So here is the installation of the Ubuntu operating system. Now, if you are not familiar how to install Ubuntu server operating system, you can just follow or skip it. Once the operating system installation is finished, you could continue from there onwards, but those who wants to know how to install Ubuntu 20.04, they could continue. So just select English and enter, continue without updating. For now, let's select the default, continue, proxy server, done, and here you can leave it at default to use the entire disk. Next, done. I will install OpenSSH server, press space and mark it, so it will be installed during the installation process. Press done, and now it's gonna take some time to install the system. So I'll pause the video, and once this loading is completed, we can continue from there onwards. Alright, the installation process have been completed. We will reboot the server operating system. So reboot, so let's put our username and password to log in into the operating system. Our password, we have if you remember, we have kept everything simple and we have just put Ubuntu for the username and password. Alright, now that we have installed our Ubuntu operating system, we will update the system using command sudo apt update, and now we will install Apache HTTP web server. So in order to install Apache HTTP web server, just type sudo apt get install Apache. Process have been completed. Let's check the status of the server by typing systemctl status Apache 2. We see that Apache 2 is running. Press Ctrl C. In order to make it persistent on the reboot to be started automatically when the system is restarted, we have to type the command sudo. We have to type the command sudo systemctl enable Apache 2. Okay, now even if we reboot our Ubuntu server, the Apache server will be running. So let's check if we can access the default Apache 2 web page using the IP address of the server. Check for the IP address. To know your IP address, type command ipaddr, which is IP address, and you can see here we have a loopback interface, and here is our virtual interface, which is ENS33. If you look at the IP address, it is 192.168.235.134. It's a class C IPv4 address assigned to the virtual interface. Just type this IP address into the browser and you will be able to access the contents of the default page. So I'll go to the browser, type 192.168.135. I forgot the IP address. Alright, it's 235.134. Here we can see the default Apache 2 page is accessible. Here you could put your own website, your web application into the directory instead of this default page, and this is the directory where these contents are served. If you cd to www to var www html, here you can see the index.html. This is the file that is served by default by the HTTP server. So in order to serve your website using this server, you have to put your website contents under var www html, and you can see the index file. If you cut the contents of index.html, you can see the code, the HTML code that is providing us that web page. So let's clear the screen. Alright, now it's time to install our FreeNAS operating system to be working as a backup server for this web server. So let's go to let's go to home. Let's create a new virtual machine. Select recommended. Next, browse for the FreeNAS operating system that we have downloaded. Open the .iso file. Select next. Leave the name as it is or change it. Default 20 gig. Okay. I'll change the memory from 1 gig to at least 4 gig because for production it's required minimum of 8 GB of RAM for the server, but we can work with 4 GB. We can complete the installation because this is just for a demo purpose, and it will work with 4 GB of RAM, and I have put 2 processor with 2 cores. So I will run the box and select first option to install the box. Press OK. It's warning that operation without RAM is not recommended, without 8 GB of RAM, but continue anyway. Yes. Press space to select the disk. Continue. Yes. Give it a password. I'll give a password of Ubuntu. Okay. Boot via BIOS. Enter. Now it's going to take some time to install the FreeNAS operating system. The installation have been completed and it's asking for reboot. Click OK and reboot the system. It will take some time to reboot the box. You can eject the installation media, or it will default go to the by default it will boot the operating system. Alright, our FreeNAS box have been rebooted. You can see here the IP address in order to access the web UI of the server. Here you could get a shell access to the box, or you could configure DNS records, or you could reset the root passwords. So let's type the IP address to the web browser and access the web UI of the server. So the IP address is 192.168.135.235 and it's 235.135. The name is root and the password was Ubuntu. For the first session, we were able to install Ubuntu operating system, install FreeNAS operating system, install Apache HTTP server on Ubuntu server. We were able to access the default page. In the next video, we will configure our FreeNAS box to copy the contents of the website and keep a copy of it, so in case of any data loss on the web server, we are able to push back the contents from our FreeNAS server to the web server.